really actually being able to heal from the trauma using the body in a different way, not in the mindfulness way, not in the yoga way of like kind of the calming, but really being able to fight and get it out.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Office Visits with Dr. V. I'm Benita Verano. I am your host. I'm a board-certified OBGYN physician and a board-certified lifestyle medicine physician, and I am committed to giving you all of the information you need to have the happiest and healthiest life possible. And guys, we have another episode that I think is going to really introduce you to something you've never thought about. And I can't tell you how I come up with the topics, but I'll tell you a little story about how I got my guests on the show today. So I have a friend. Her name is Lerda. And I've known her since I was, in the 10th grade. And she lives in Washington, D.C., and we were doing our college tour. We went to Howard University. We walked over to her house, and I've been talking to her. She's been, doing some different things in life. And when I got there, we were chatting, she got a black eye. I was black. And I was like, what had happened? But she was talking about her new passion. And it's Muay Thai. Muay Thai, it's a form of martial arts. And I'm familiar with Muay Thai. I had a personal trainer. It's a great way that, you're punching and you're kicking, and you really get to shout. But she, as a PhD and social work and helping women with trauma, she has a new twist and a new thought on it. And she's also working with her instructor. And so, guys, we hear about yoga, we hear about Pilates, and we talk about how you need to relax and breathe. Sometimes you just want to kick something and you just want to punch something. And that can also be therapeutic. So I would love for you guys to tune in. Make sure that you are liking, subscribing, share this episode with anyone, especially if you have a history of trauma or know someone who has a history. So, guys, I'd like to introduce to you my friend, Dr. Lynn Michalopoulos. Hello, Lynn.
Hi, Lerda. How are you?
And we have her awesome, I guess, are you an instructor, master? I don't know what you're called, but man, this is Dr. Darnell Andrews. Welcome, Darnell.
Well, thanks for having me. It's just instructor right now.
Instructor. Yeah, so y'all, I like for my guests to send in a bio, and they have like bios that are like 1 page long. But I just want you to briefly introduce yourself. I mean, you're very credentialed, but tell our listeners what makes you an expert on talking about impacting trauma and through the art of Muay Thai.
Sure. So I'm a trained clinical social worker, also a PhD in social work, and most of my research and focus has been on trauma in global context. So working with women and migrant populations in Southern Africa, trying to understand the relationship between trauma, mental health, and HIV risk. But it was all informed by my clinical experience working specifically with women who had experienced childhood abuse, adult sexual violence, and really informed my interest in wanting to work and understand trauma in different contexts. And then recently, in the past year and a month, started doing Muay Thai and felt like it's changed my life. And I know I'm just a sample size of one, but I really want to share it with other people, and started having more conversations with my coach, Darnell. And we thought, and he had the idea of also working with women who'd experienced different types of trauma, and really feel like it can go beyond traditional talk therapy and go beyond some of the somatic therapies that are out there. Like, as you mentioned, with yoga, mindfulness, I feel like it really can go beyond that. And so we're working to try to test it out.
That's so awesome. Darnell, introduce yourself to the listeners for me.
Hey, I'm Darnell Andrews. Mine's just really simple. I played a bunch of different sports in middle school, high school, and then once I got out of school, I just needed something else. And at the time, there wasn't a big movement of like adult sports. It's a big thing now, but at the time, it wasn't like a big thing. So like soccer, football, it's kind of like a little hard to find around the city. But I've always had interest in martial arts, and through looking, I found Beta Academy, which is in DC, and I started that 12 years ago. And when I stepped on the mat, it was only just for like fitness and like potentially self-defense if I needed it. But 12 years later, now I'm just working with your average Joe or people that want to compete. So I want to take my knowledge and share it with, as of right now, any female that had like a prior trauma. I feel like you can use this not only get yourself in shape, but build the confidence and protecting yourself in the future.
Darnell, you're saying that Muay Thai is something that we can use not only for physical fitness, but also to protect ourselves. Do you have women coming to your gym saying, I need self-defense classes, or how do people find Muay Thai?
You get like it's a mix, but on average, it's usually between one or two things, and those two things are usually fitness or self-defense. And so I would say you'll get roughly 75% coming in for fitness, and then the last 25% are just focused on self-defense.
Okay. So I know about Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu, karate. What makes Muay Thai unique and different?
The simplest answer is the in-between things. So most of those arts are usually like mid-range, which is going to be some punches, and then long range, which is going to be legs. Muay Thai adds the element of elbows and knees.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. We're not going to get any deeper than elbows and knees. Okay, so there's it sounds like a little finesse or something a little bit extra. Yeah.
So you have the elbows and knees, but then it's also what they strike with when it comes to the legs. So like our roundhouse kick is with your shin, whereas most other arts is with your feet. I would say is the objective with Muay Thai is to finish, in most cases, the sport, finish your opponent as quickly as possible. But in a self-defense situation, that will come ahead. You know, you don't want to be dancing around. You would like to end the threat as quickly as possible. Absolutely.
Okay, got it. Some people who are listening have not heard of Muay Thai. I just wanted to make sure our listeners understand. I loved Muay Thai as far as it's definitely a wonderful workout. I love the thought of while you're working out, you can learn a skill that you can help protect yourself. So, Lynn, I'm going to throw this one to you. We're talking about trauma, and I think that word is kind of thrown around a bit. When we say trauma, when we say women who have faced trauma or been through trauma, what exactly is trauma?
It could be subjective, and I think that it is a term that has been overused, some potentially of late, or just kind of more broadly used. But it's really a threat to one's well-being. So that could be a threat to your life, or to your sense of self. So we think about sexual abuse, we think about sexual violence, physical violence. Physical violence can be actually a threat to your life. Or traumas that are not interpersonal. So they're kind of two big broad categories of interpersonal trauma and then kind of just kind of disasters. So you think of like, cyclones, tornadoes, like, kind of God kind of traumas versus interpersonal. Interpersonal traumas are more difficult to heal from. The evidence and research shows this because it's like, wow, like this person did this to me. And so really trying to understand and get through the kind of interpersonal piece of it versus like, I was at the wrong place at the wrong time when this tsunami happened. There's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
It's also losing losing control, in a sense, is a big part of trauma. And so for me, in terms of, well, I'll leave it at that. Does that answer the question?
It does, because there is a gray area, and I think you said that really well. There's interpersonal, there's on the inside, and then there's the external. And I can see now maybe why people are why trauma is used broadly, as you said.
Right.
So when we talked, gosh, that was in March, I was really interested because you said, we're going to try to figure this out as a different modality to help women. So my listeners know about the central nervous system and the nervous system. And you were talking about parasympathetics and sympathetics. So tell us what you're thinking on out of this Muay Thai is going to really kind of tap into some of that interpersonal trauma or stress that women may be facing.
I mean, and I'll say, I already said that, like, I'm a sample size of one, but like, I'll say that this is based on my conversations with Darnell and also my personal experience of doing Muay Thai and as a survivor of child abuse as well as adult sexual violence. And it's like been life-changing. And I've been in talk therapy for most of my adult life, off and on. And it's been extremely helpful, been beneficial. But walking into Theta and just on so many different levels, there's a seminal book by Bessel van der Kolk, who The Body Keeps the Score. And he talks about that there are three main pathways to healing from trauma. One is the top-down approach, so talk therapy, reconnecting with others, processing the trauma. The second is through pharmaceutical, through drugs to try to damper the arousal system. And then the third is through the bottom-up approach, which is like really viscerally being able to kind of complete the trauma in a way that is in a safe environment where you're not feeling helpless, where you're not feeling all of those emotions, but you're able to release that from the body. So, and to me, that's like the core of why I want to share it with people. Of like, I think the self-defense piece is secondary. That's like bonus, but really actually being able to heal from the trauma using the body in a different way, not in the mindfulness way, not in the yoga way of like kind of the calming, but really being able to fight and get it out. Yeah. Like, I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Darnell, but I remember there was a time that I walked in and was just like having a horrible day. Like, just, there's actually been many days that I've walked into me to like having a horrible day. And I remember they're like coming up to me like before class and like saying like, how are you doing? How's your day going? I was like, today sucks. And I was like, you would probably be disturbed if you knew like some of the images that I had in my head while I'm punching the pads. And he was like, no. And he was like, it's actually the best way to be jail time. And I was like, oh, get it out of here. Yeah, get it out of here. Exactly.
Whoa.
And it's just so satisfying. But there's something that goes beyond being able to talk about, and I'm not thinking about my experiences from childhood or, like specifically when I'm punching, when I'm kicking, but there's something about it, like using my body in a way that like, I feel like I have control and is so satisfying. And I will also say, just feel like there's like so many different levels of why it's changed my life. I feel better in like, I feel better in my skin in a way that I've never felt before in my life. Whoa. And, I'm 48 and I've been smaller than this. I've been bigger than this, like, but I feel like so confident and so comfortable because I feel strong. And I don't know if I look any different or not, but like, I feel like, I just feel comfortable, like carrying myself. And there, and also speaking to self-defense, there are times that I walked, obviously you want to be aware of your situation and, walking around by yourself as a woman. But there are times that I'm like, okay, like if I can't cross the street and this dude's coming forward, like, I think like, yeah, I could use my elbow. Like I could, like,
wow.
And, I don't know if I should be thinking like that, but like, and having that sense of confidence, I feel like just makes a difference. So I think it has, and I'll say finally, then I'll be quiet. But the last thing is like the sense of community. So like developing a friendship with Darnell, like, has been life-changing. Walking into beta, like, I'm there all the time, sometimes morning, sometimes night, but it's become like my AA and my cheers all at once, Like, so I walk in, I'm like, people are like, hey, what's up, Lynn? I'm like, oh, they know my name. Like, and, you feel like you're a part of a community. You see the same people, you work with partners, and, it's not like folks in there are my best friends, but Darnell and I are tight, but like, so. But other people you see and go, but I walk around the neighborhood, see people, and it feels, it's just the sense of community. So I feel like Muay Thai has the potential of really addressing the kind of the top down and the bottom up through like the somatic experience, but also through a sense of community. Like, if you imagine working with other women who have also experienced trauma and you're in a fun environment, like, it's fun. It's like you're doing something fun, you're doing something satisfying, and that you have something in common, I feel like it has the potential to be really powerful.
So, gosh, I'm going to talk.
Sorry, I feel like
No. Like, okay, it's a good way to be jail. It's community. It's like, I'm like, I got to get Darnell in this. Like, is this unique just to beta? Like your academy, like where you guys train? Or is this something that's unique to Muay Thai, the art?
I can honestly, I've only been to like a few other like gyms on the outside. It's not like anything against other gyms. It's just lack of like either travel or just time to go out. But from our academy, we try to do keep the culture, right, of like Muay Thai. So like whether you've been to Thailand or not, we just try to like bring that into our gym and keep that going. But outside of that, my approach is to try to give what I've gotten from like the last 12 years. So I've had my share of bad days. I've come into the gym, I've hit the bag, I've hit pads, and I walk out feeling 10 times better. So I would like to share that, for anyone that's coming in having a bad day. But then the biggest thing I've learned, and this was like my 10 years working at Whole Foods, I was told to come in and whatever you have going on outside, leave it outside. You know what I'm saying? Come in, focus on your shift, and get through it. So I try to have anyone that's having a bad day, once you step past that door, I'm trying to take your next hour and a half and make it the best of your day. So once you leave, I call it the reset. Once you leave, you press that reset button, and now whatever happened, you should be like a little bit past it, feeling better. So it keeps you from catching a case, and it keeps you from beating up your boss. So.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do with the podcast is just to expose people. So one of our healthier pillars is, physical activity. But also, Lynn, you alluded to relationships. It's community. That also contributes to your health. And so I want people, maybe it's not yoga, it's not Pilates, it's not running, but I want to introduce people to other forms of physical activity that could improve their overall well-being. And so who are some of the people, Darnell, that, let me ask you this way, are there people that should not participate in Muay Thai? Are there some things that if you have X, then maybe Muay Thai is not for you?
From my experience, or the people, or the type of people I've encountered, is ones that don't have the best interest in heart. So like they come in and it's only strictly for like the fighting. Now some people come in for the sport of fighting, but there's others that like they want to go and test this out in a bar fight, or it's
oh wow.
That's not what the culture is about. It's about testing the skills, but more so with like-minded people. You go on like it's just a new challenge. It's a new challenge. So that's where the sport aspect comes from. You go in, you learn these crafts, and then once you go out, you want to test it against someone else that's either same amount of time training or maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but both of you have the same mindset of that challenge. And I say also, just to throw Lynn in, she can also let you know, like, we have like a system, where so your first few challenges could just be the in-house testing. Right? You just test yourself. So, because not everyone wants to fight. So you can just do something that will push you to your personal best, with like your instructors, other classmates, and things like that in a safe environment. But if you want to go first, we have like in-house events where you can actually like challenge yourself against another student, and we try to keep it around the same weight, same skill set. And then you kind of go further than that. You can go outside and challenge yourself against someone you have no idea of what they're going to do, but they're trying to knock your head off. So kind of bring your A game.
So definitely come in there with the right attitude. If somebody's, I'll step in as a physician. I don't think if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, that should not keep you from Muay Thai. You can go walk and run. I would assume you could do Muay Thai.
I mean, I've seen like different backgrounds. I mean, different disabilities, injuries. Like maybe they were like in a car accident or something like that. You know, they come in, they train. I tell everyone it's always a workaround. You let me know what your injury is, I'll figure it out for you. You know, and then we have folks with high blood pressure, diabetes, and the biggest one is asthma. So if they have asthma, they can get through it. I think you're in good shape.
Kind of give us more context around what life was like before Muay Thai, and you did say that you are more confident. But what kind of things were you able to, I guess, unload and finally deal with now that you've managed to, incorporate Muay Thai into your life?
I think also for the specific situation, the time in my life, like going through a separation, after a 20-year marriage, like is a big adjustment and big transition. And so just having that sense of community and being able to, it's amazing because I think anybody that knew me like 2 years ago would be like, yeah, Lynn is not a morning person. And granted, I didn't go this morning, but like, there are many mornings that I go to 7 a.m. classes. And I'll go to a 7 a.m. class and then go back. Like tonight, I'm going to go at 8 o'clock to spar. So like, I was kind of chastising myself this morning of like, shoot, like I've only been like 3 times this week. And it's Thursday, like I think that's, or maybe 4. Anyway, like I'm usually go like around 6-7 times a week. And so it just going and like, it's the sense of community, kind of like feeling good in my own skin. That's been life-changing. It also is, what Darnell said, like different backgrounds. It also felt good to walk in and see people. I don't know if there are other people that are as old as I am, but like, I mean, there's a wide range of age, which feels good. And there's a wide range of like body types too. Like, cause I've never been a gym person because I hate going to the gym and like seeing the, like all the skinny minis and like, like, and just being self-conscious. But like this, it just feels like it's just like you come and like everybody's just doing what they can and just trying to better themselves, and everybody's at a different place. And it just doesn't even feel like that. So it's just just in many ways, like the relationships and just feeling stronger and feeling like I could do something. Because when I first started, I was like, oh, this is really cool. I like this. Like I was going a couple of times a week, and then Darnell encouraged me to go for the testing. And I was like, I don't think I'm ready. For that. I was like terrified. And then I tested, they have different color bands. So got the first band, then got the second band, then got the third band. And now I've signed up for the in-house tournament, and like I'm fighting with both men and women, and it feels really good. Like, with each step, it feels like, oh my God, like there's no way I can do this. And then, month or two later, I'm like, oh, like I'm kind of doing it. Like, so
that's amazing.
That's like different challenges.
Mm-hmm. And that sense of accomplishment also contributes to your well-being.
Right. And last quarter, I was student of the quarter.
Darnell, how did she become student of the quarter? What you got to do to be student of the quarter?
Oh, for Lynn, she paid me. No,
Do what you got to do.
but we we've implemented like things to, like I said, constantly set goals, for the students, for yourself. And if you don't set it for yourself, the instructor, will set it for you or kind of push you in a certain direction. Like I could see like she didn't want to take, and the first time I asked her, she's like, no. No. And then I brought it back up, and I just had to like tell her, like, you're ready. You might not feel like it. Of course, nobody likes to test. And the biggest thing about the test is like is the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. But I was like, you got it. Like, it's fine. And 3 tests went by like that. And she was like on like everyone after that. But one of the biggest keys, we want students to show their skills, show up, and then just be like great partners, because that's like a part of the culture. Staying humble and then helping like the next person. That's like one of the biggest things students don't probably know that happens, like whether they get to do it or not. But we have a thing where like it's like a bunch of partners, or usually with a partner. So you have to like hold for someone holds for you. You work drills together. So that's also one of the things that helps with the community.
Wow.
But then I'm gonna take that one step further, going to go watch fights, or going out to events. Whether it's like a in-person fight, like, some of the amateur events, or they go to see UFC, one championship or something. But yeah, it just goes further and further, whether it's just hanging out or, class time.
Yeah. I'm not comparing the two, but it sounds to me it's kind of like the CrossFit community, where people like kind of get hooked and addicted, and they have their tribe. Which honestly, that adds years to your life. I don't have time to talk about it now, but everything you guys are talking about adds years to your life. Absolutely.
Real quick, I was going to say, Lynn is a product of that, So Lynn started out, she was only doing 2 times a week. Lynn gets mad at herself if she gets under like 7 to 9 classes.
Oh my God. Wait, so that's like 2 times. Yeah, you did say that you sometimes go twice a day.
Yeah. I'll sometimes do double classes at night, or I'll do in the morning and then go back at night.
Okay, so y'all know I've known Lynn since I was in high school. That wasn't you. Like, you're not the person getting up in the morning to go jogging and exercising. So, I really feel that everybody can find something that they love and enjoy. And so twice a day. Okay. We were talking about trauma, though. Let's get back to the trauma real quick, because I do want any listeners who are affected by it. What advice can you give? And Lynn, I guess I'll ask you to start. What advice can you give to anyone who's hurting, who has had traumatic events that maybe talk therapy isn't doing it? How do you kind of get started down this road of acknowledging, hey, I've got the trauma, and tapping into your sympathetic instead of the mindfulness?
I think it's about just starting, because it feels, starting anything new feels uncomfortable, and you're making yourself vulnerable. So I remember the first couple of classes that I went where I was like, I don't even think I'm ready to be, because in Muay Thai, that I don't know if it's specific to this academy, where if you're new, you kind of work off to the side with another coach for your first class, just to kind of work out like what the punches look like, what the kicks look like. And then your second class, you kind of join the big group. And I felt like I'm not ready to join the big group. And I felt embarrassed and felt like I don't want to hold the pads. I was like apologizing all the time to my partner, like, am I holding this right? I know I'm not doing this right. Sorry. But now I feel like I'm one of the people that will work with a new person. So I will, like help them, like kind of feel like, feel welcome, and kind of pay it forward to, how I felt with other people that were kind of just were patient with me. But I think it's just doing it and just pushing yourself, like just a small amount, each step, like, and then you feel this sense, like if you can get over that hurdle, that like initial step of like, this feels really vulnerable. And I feel like, as we were talking about trauma, interpersonal trauma, and especially like as a survivor myself and working with other people that have experienced sexual violence in and of itself gets at your core in the way that other trauma doesn't, and just your core sense of self. And so like just making yourself vulnerable is really challenging, and can feel like there's just like this wall, but really just kind of like chipping away at it. And I feel like that's what Muay Thai has done in a lot of different ways, in terms of just making myself vulnerable, working with different people, pushing myself each class to be like, okay, like I haven't sparred with this person, or I know that this person is a hard person to spar with, so I'm going to challenge myself and spar with them. Even doing Darnell does a clinch class where you're like grappling with someone, like it's like jujitsu, but standing up. And I remember starting that and feeling like, I do not want to be touching people. Like, I do not feel comfortable like being that close. Like that feels like I'm not a like, hey, huggy, I'm not like a Benita huggy person, which I love about you, but like, that's not my like default. But now that's like one of my favorite things to do, is to clench with people. So I feel like if you, just kind of just push just a little bit, and make yourself vulnerable in a safe environment. And that's why I'm so interested in trying to see if this can be effective for women that have experienced sexual violence, because it's to making yourself vulnerable, but in a healthy and safe environment. And I think can be life-changing.
Which we'll talk about that, Darnell. I'm going to throw a quick question back at you, Lynn. Somebody's listening to this and they're like, oh, I'm fine. I haven't had therapy, but, I was raped in college and everything's good. Why is it important that we don't push that down and that we actually do kind of bring it up and deal with it? Like, what might your life look like if you never address the trauma that you've experienced?
I mean, I think it's different for everyone, but I mean, I think, as you know, like there's studies that show that like trauma and violence like really impacts you emotionally, mentally, your relationships, your physical health. There's studies of like child abuse and immune disorders, like, all of these different effects that if you don't deal with it and cope with it and in whatever way that works for you, to just release that and kind of process it, that it stays with you. And I think that that's more and more what I'm learning of, like just the body within the trauma within the body, right, is so it's real. And that if you just say like, no, I'm cool, like it's gonna impact you in some shape or form.
Absolutely. Especially those childhood events. And we know that there's a direct effect. And I honestly, I can't tell you the number of patients over the years that are now on antidepressants. And it just seems like it's getting more and more and more common, like it's a multivitamin. I mean, I believe it's in the body.
Right.
So Darnell, just as we close out, for women who are hesitant, or anybody who doesn't feel like this is something for them, what words of encouragement or inspiration can you give us to just give this a try?
One of the things that's like the hardest thing to do is just to walk through the doors. I can't fully remember the saying, but the owner of the gym, he has like this saying that the biggest, hardest thing to do is to grab that handle and open that door and walk through it. He has like a certain like saying, but if you could just do that, it will be one of the best things you can do just overall. Like it helps you release sweat, anger, stress, that stuff is the biggest like attacks on like your heart. So, you come in, get that out, and then you'll just totally be a different person for the rest of the day. Especially if you knock it out in the morning, because they say that workout lasts you the whole day. So you constantly like burning calories and everything. So just, I don't want to say jump into the deep end, but that's kind of what you do. Just like, they'll go and like start treading water in like 3 feet. Just sometimes they'll jump into 10 to 12 feet. And that will just be life-changing, like biggest life-changing thing you can do. Just grab that handle, walk through the doors, and everything will be good to go from there.
I love that. Grabbing the handles to me sounds like asking for help almost. Sometimes it's just once you ask for help, that opens the door and your healing can begin. So I absolutely love that. So I think what I'm hearing from you guys is get up in the morning, kick some butt, get some energy out, not to light his head off. And life is good the rest of the day. Is that what we're saying?
And it's for anything else,
Yeah. Okay. So if people want pills, they want Prozac, they want Wellbutrin, or we're smoking weed. We're doing all of these things, but it sounds like in this form, this martial art in Muay Thai, this could probably address a lot of the ills that we're facing. And so, you guys, thank you so much for sharing this. I really, like I said, I did some punches and some kicks, but I didn't know a lot about Muay Thai. And I love the fact that this is just another way for us to get better and to feel better in our bodies. And when we talk about trauma, like you said, Dr. Michalopoulos, we just don't know what it has on us. We just don't know. So guys, you heard it, life changing. So get to a Muay Thai gym, dojo. What is it called?
Muay Thai gym is usually what it's called. Dojos are usually for like either, most of the time it's karate based like dojos.
Dojos.
And you gotta make sure you don't find a mech dojo. I'm saying you find a mech dojo, no good. Okay, mech dojos are like they tell you they're doing something, but then it turns out to be like fake. So.
Oh, really?
Oh no!
You come in, and like they say it's like they're like Muay Thai based or karate based, Taekwondo, whatever the case may be. But then you go in, you're kind of doing like Taibo. Yeah.
So wait, spell that. You're saying Mac?
Yeah, Mac, like MAC, like Mac Dojo.
Oh, like McDonald's kind of like.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay, so y'all watch out for the Mac Dojo.
Yeah. Don't get tricked. If you got anybody making you do some Billy Blank stuff, just walk away.
Okay, you just showed your age. Who is Billy Blanks? Who is Billy Blanks? And Tyler. Yeah,
You know I'm tight. Are you kidding?
But you got no Taibo. She know Billy Blank. She know.
No, I know. I'm just.
Okay.
I know. I'm just saying some people don't know, don't remember Taibo, but that's kind of where it started. Shout out to Billy Blanks, but
No, this is the thing. So this is the thing though. It's not necessarily like it's a joke, but it's about folks that's in it for like the money, and you think you're getting like this out of it, but then it's only that. So now my thing is, if you're looking to go into somewhere and you're trying to like get some tools to defend yourself and you don't know any better, you're getting these things, but then you go out and find yourself in a situation and now you're the one getting beat up, So that doesn't help you in the long run.
okay. How are you supposed to know?
Well, one way is if it's not feeling like 100% right, or you're not getting that feel like, okay, I would say most of the time those gyms put you in a bag, right? And you don't necessarily get to like hit actual like targets, like, work with someone. You're probably not working defenses. So it's just like a cardio kickboxing class. All right, just go with that cardio kickboxing. So if you just go in and have you do like 100 right hands and like 100 right kicks, you just and then you're not getting the assistance, so they're not correcting you on your form or anything like that.
Okay,
so that's like a cardio kickboxing class.
Okay,
Which if you're starting for a sweat, that's a different thing, But if you're looking to have that ability to defend yourself, that's not going to be right for you. because Lynn can like talk about her path. Lynn knows how to defend herself from like different punches, different elbows, different roundhouse kicks, different teeps or straight legs and knees. Like she has like all these. She can match offense and defense, defense and offense. And this is why she's like I'm sparring now.
And that's why she had the black eye.
That
actually wasn't why
I'm sparring. That actually
No, it didn't.
I'm
Yeah.
sparring. You know what I'm saying? So
Unfortunately,
unfortunately, mistakes are made during partner drills sometimes. So
I love it though that, you know, we don't have to be like prim and proper because that's what you're saying, right? It's like, get this out,
right,
get it out.
right.
So, I mean, I'm joking about the black eye. I don't know how the black eye happened, but it started the conversation of what are you doing? Something is different.
Right.
So, so Darnell, he dropped his last word on make sure you're not going to these fake places. Any last words for you? Anything you want to say before we end the episode?
No, thank you for this. Has been a great opportunity.
Thank you, guys. So, listeners, I think you've got plenty of information to get you started. So, you go grab a handle, find you a real Muay Thai gym,
yes.
and get something. Darnell Blank for real. Don't mess with the whatever we're calling it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am just so happy to be along with you to help you along your journey. And this has been another episode of Office Visits with Dr. V. We will see you next time.